I sit at the mahogany dining table, the one that has witnessed every Sullivan family drama for decades. Evening light slants through the windows, catching on my mother's wedding ring as she twists Eda nervous tell I've been watching since childhood. The familiar scent of lemon furniture polish mingles with my father's cologne. Tyler doesn't bother looking up from his phone. At 30, my brother has perfected the art of appearing disinterested in family emergencies while somehow remaining the central focus of them. My father clears his throat and slides a document across the polished surface. It's due next week, $9,200, same as last year. The property tax bill, of course. I recognize the county letterhead immediately, the same one I've been seeing twice yearly for the past 6 years. I reach for my checkbook with practiced resignation. The motion is so familiar it feels choreographed. Dad slides bill. I write check. Everyone pretends this is normal. Just another performance in the Sullivan family theater. My father shifts in his seat, causing a stack of papers to slide from his leather portfolio. My eyes catch on bold text. Trust fund. My hand freezes mid-signature. 6 years flash through my mind in vivid snapshots. The vacation home they could barely afford to keep but somehow wouldn't sell. The medical bills that weren't covered by insurance. Tyler's car payments while he found himself through 3 different careers. Family vacations I funded as gifts because I was the successful one who could afford it. I reach for the document before my father can snatch it away. His fingers graze mine as he tries and fails to grab it first. Jenna, that's private. The blood in my veins turns to ice water as I read, $400,000 Sullivan Family Trust beneficiary, Tyler Sullivan. $400,000. While I've been draining my savings to keep them afloat, my mind calculates with the precision that made me a senior investment analyst. Property taxes, $55,000. Tyler's car payments, $32,000. Mom's medical expenses, $28,000. Family vacations I never got to enjoy, $10,000. $125,000 over 6 years. $125,000 while they had a trust fund for Tyler. My hands tremble, the paper quivering between my fingers. Mom's eyes drop to the table in silent confirmation. The shame radiating from her posture tells me everything I need to know. Tyler finally looks up from his phone. Confusion flickers across his face, then morphs into something more troubling: guilt. He knows. He's always known. You were never supposed to see that. My father's voice sounds strange, hollow, and hard simultaneously. I try to swallow, but my throat constricts. And you were never supposed to lie to me for 6 years. The chair scrapes against hardwood as I stand. The sound rings through the room like a warning bell. I look down at the property tax check, my signature half completed. With one fluid motion, I tear it in half, then quarters, then eighths. The pieces flutter to the table like confetti. Silence stretches between us, thick enough to choke on. My father's face reddens that dangerous shade I recognized from childhood when things weren't going his way. After everything we've done for you? A laugh escapes me, too sharp to be humorous. What exactly have you done for me? The question hangs in the air, unanswerable. I gather my purse and keys with deliberate calm. The walls of this house suddenly feel too close. The family portraits on the walls like strangers watching an intruder. Where are you going? My mother's voice wavers. Jenna, please. I'm going home. The words taste foreign and true simultaneously. This house hasn't been home for a long time. Tyler stands, reaching toward me. Sis, wait. I step back, avoiding his touch. Don't. My father remains seated, hands flat on the table beside the torn check, as if he can somehow hold his crumbling control in place, through sheer force of will. You'll regret this, he says, the threat thinly veiled. I pause at the doorway, turning back to face the 3 of them, these people who share my blood, but have become strangers. No, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. I regret the 6 years I spent believing family meant something different to you than a checkbook. The door closes behind me with a decisive click, and for the first time in years, I breathe freely. Numbers don't lie. That's what I tell my clients every day. And now I'm reminding myself as I stare at 3 monitors in my apartment, each screen filled with spreadsheets that tell a story no one in my family wanted revealed. Blue light bathes my face in the darkness. It's 2:18 a.m. I've been at this for hours, transferring data from my banking app to organize columns that grow longer with each entry. 6 years of transactions, meticulously categorized and color-coded. My phone buzzes against the glass coffee table. Again, the 7th time in the past hour. I don't need to look to know it's my family's names, lighting up the screen with increasingly desperate messages I refuse to read. This is. Marion trails off, leaning forward in my ergonomic desk chair I've offered her. My financial advisors normally composed face twists with each new tab I open. Jenna, I've managed accounts for 30 years, and I've never seen systematic family exploitation this organized. She taps the screen, where I've highlighted the vacation home payments. They told you they couldn't afford the taxes but wouldn't sell it. While maintaining a trust fund for my brother, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. Yes. The forensic accountant I hired sits quietly on my sofa, his laptop balanced on his knees as he imports the statements I've emailed. His fingers never stop moving, building a paper trail I'll need if this moves beyond family drama to legal action. The total is actually worse than I thought. Marion swivels my center monitor toward me. $125,412 over 6 years. The number sits stark against the white background. 6 figures. Enough for a down payment on my own vacation home. Enough to have taken an actual vacation instead of funding family trips I wasn't invited to join. My phone buzzes again, skittering across the table. This time I glance down. Tyler, my car payment was declined. I can't get to work without it. A laugh escapes me, sharp enough to make both professionals glance up. 6 days ago, Tyler posted a selfie with his new designer watch. $1,800 of Italian craftsmanship on the wrist of a man who now claims he can't make his car payment. I open my email, needing to document everything. A new message from my mother sits at the top of my inbox, the subject line all capitals. Please read immediately. Jenna, we might lose the vacation home. Is that what you want? Your father is beside himself. All these years we've supported you. And this is how you repay us? Please reconsider what you're doing to this family. Mom, supported me? I click over to Instagram, scrolling to find the proof I need. There it is, a photo from last summer. My parents and Tyler lounging on the deck of the vacation home I've been paying taxes on for years. The home I've never been invited to use. Save that, the accountant says, noticing my screen. We'll include it in the visual evidence section. My voicemail icon flashes. 3 new messages. I select the first one, putting it on speaker. You're being selfish, Jenna. My father's voice fills the room, tension vibrating in every syllable. This family has always supported you. Your mother is beside herself. You need to remember where your loyalties lie. Call us immediately. Always supported you? Marion's eyebrows arch as she pulls up another spreadsheet. According to these comparison charts I've drafted, your financial contributions to the family over 6 years total, $125,412, while documented support received from them is. She squints at the screen, exactly $0. Add the trust fund document here, I tell her, sending over the scanned copy I'd made before leaving my parents' house. Highlight the date it was established. The document appears on her screen. Key sections now marked in yellow: established date, amount, and sole beneficiary. Tyler Sullivan. The date coincides with my 2nd year of college, when I was working 2 jobs while being told the family couldn't help with tuition. My phone rings again. Unknown number. I almost decline it until something makes me answer. Jenna, it's Aunt Rebecca. My father's sister. We've never been close. Your father isn't telling us the whole story, is he? Her voice sounds carefully neutral. He sent an email to the entire extended family for Sunday. Says you've abandoned your responsibilities. I pull up my email on the 3rd monitor. There it is, forwarded by a cousin who clearly thought I'd already seen it. Emergency family meeting Sunday at 2 p.m. Jenna's abandonment of her responsibilities must be addressed. Attendance mandatory for all Sullivan family members. He's gathering the extended family to turn them against you. Aunt Rebecca continues. I thought you should know. After we hang up, a text comes through from Dr. Winters, my therapist who agreed to an emergency session this morning. Remember what we discussed, Jenna. Family obligation doesn't mean financial exploitation. Setting boundaries isn't betrayal, it's self-preservation. See you at 10. A knock at my door startles me. It's nearly 3 in the morning. Who would... Jenna? Claire's voice carries through the door. I saw your lights on from the street. I brought Thai food. My oldest friend stands in the hallway, holding a plastic bag that smells of lemongrass and garlic. Her hair is piled messily on top of her head. Yoga pants and sweatshirt suggesting she was home for the night when she decided to check on me. Sorry to barge in, she says as I step aside to let her enter. She stopped short at the sight of my late-night financial war room. Whoa. Marion and the accountant excused themselves after quick introductions, promising to email their completed findings tomorrow. As the door closes behind them, Claire places the food on my kitchen counter and turns to me. I always thought something was off with how they treated you, she says, pulling containers from the bag. The way your parents talked about money around you versus how they spent it on Tyler. You saw it before I did. I reached for plates in the cabinet. Why didn't you say something? Would you have believed me? She hands me a container of pad thai. Family blinds us. We defend them even when they're bleeding us dry. My email chimes from my laptop, Michael from work, responding to my late-night message asking for legal advice. Happy to look over everything pro bono. Family financial exploitation is more common than you think. My sister went through something similar last year. Send me what you have, and we'll build an ironclad case. The accountant has already sent his first draft of professional document with sections for each category of financial support I've provided. Bank statements organized chronologically. Comparison charts showing the imbalance of family contributions. Photos of the vacation home pulled from social media, with timestamps proving I was funding a property I never enjoyed. And the trust fund document, with highlighted sections showing it was established when I was struggling through college without family help. I scroll through it all, each page stoking the resolve burning inside me. They're trying to control the narrative, I tell Claire, something hardening inside me. Gathering the family as witnesses to my supposed betrayal. What are you going to do? Claire asks, setting down her fork. I straighten my shoulders, decision crystallizing. If they want a family meeting, they'll get one. But this time, they'll hear the whole truth. I download the evidence dossier, send it to a 24-hour print shop with instructions for binding, and close my laptop with a decisive click. Then they should hear the whole truth. The cursor on my screen blinks steadily, like a heartbeat growing stronger with each pulse. I drive up the winding gravel driveway to the vacation home I've never been invited to stay in. The cedar-sided retreat sits nestled among towering pines, its wide deck overlooking the lake I've only seen in the photos my mother posts on social media. 6 years of property taxes have come from my account, yet this is my first time passing through its gates. My hands tighten on the steering wheel as I park behind a row of familiar vehicles. Uncle Michael's silver SUV, Aunt Rebecca's sensible sedan, Cousin Jessica's compact. The family tribunal has assembled exactly as Tyler warned me they would. I check my reflection in the rearview mirror, cool, composed, prepared. The evidence portfolio sits on the passenger seat, bound in professional navy leather. 6 years of financial records transformed into indisputable proof. I grab it and step out into the crisp autumn air, allowing myself one deep breath before climbing the stairs to the deck. Through the window, I see them, the extended Sullivan family arranged like jurors in a courtroom. My father stands at the head of the great room, hands planted on the back of an armchair like a prosecutor, preparing his opening statement. My mother sits nearby, eyes red-rimmed, tissues clutched in her hand, a performance I now recognize from years of watching her manipulate emotions. Tyler leans against the stone fireplace, arms crossed tightly, gaze fixed on the polished hardwood floor. When I open the door, the conversation cuts off abruptly. 12 pairs of eyes turn toward me. Jenna, my father's voice carries the practiced steadiness of someone who's rehearsed his lines. We were just discussing your situation. I don't respond, just close the door behind me with a decisive click that echoes through the suddenly silent room. The weight of the portfolio in my hands feels like armor. Please, take a seat. He gestures to an isolated chair positioned like an interrogation target. I remain standing. I'll stand for now, thank you. My father clears his throat and surveys his assembled audience, making sure all attention is focused where he wants it. As I was explaining to everyone, Jenna has always been blessed with financial success while the rest of us struggled. His voice takes on the patronizing tone he reserves for explaining things he believes others couldn't possibly understand. She's forgotten how this family supported her through college, helped her get established in her career. A laugh escapes me before I can stop it, sharp and humorless. Is something funny, Jenna? My father's eyes narrow. Actually, yes. The fiction you're creating is almost impressive. I set my portfolio on the coffee table, but don't open it yet. Tyler pushes away from the fireplace. I always looked up to her, but now she's abandoned us. The words sound rehearsed, hollow. He can't quite meet my eyes as he speaks, just when Mom and Dad need her most. I notice Aunt Rebecca's eyebrow arch skeptically. She's always been the family pragmatist, the one who asks uncomfortable questions at holiday dinners. Her eyes lock with mine for a moment, not hostile, but assessing. My father continues building his case. Jenna has decided that family obligation means nothing, that the sacrifices we made— What sacrifices exactly? I interrupt, my voice steady, despite the adrenaline coursing through me. I'd like to hear specifically what sacrifices you made for me. He falters for a moment, then recovers. We gave you everything. I think it's time we all looked at the actual numbers. I open the portfolio and begin distributing the bound financial summaries I've prepared done for each family member. The methodical sound of papers sliding across the coffee table punctuates the tense silence. My father moves to intercept them. This isn't necessary. It's completely necessary. I press a button on my phone, and the portable projector I positioned earlier flickers to life, casting a spreadsheet onto the living room wall. I've paid $125,000 to support this family over 6 years, while a $400,000 trust fund was hidden from me. The gasps are audible. Uncle Michael picks up his summary, adjusting his reading glasses to examine the figures more closely. These are. He looks up at my father. Is this true, Robert? My father's face flushes crimson. You're taking things out of context. The context is quite clear. I tap the screen, advancing to the next slide. Property taxes on this vacation home. Tyler's car payments. Mom's supposed medical expenses that weren't covered by insurance. Family vacations I funded but was too busy working to attend. Aunt Rebecca rises from her seat and moves beside me, taking in the projected figures. My God, Robert, what have you been doing? My mother's carefully crafted tears dry up as she realizes her performance isn't working. Real panic flashes across her face as the room's sympathies visibly shift. Tyler's face burns with shame as the slide detailing his expenses appears. 3 car payments. Graduate school application fees for programs he never completed. Monthly allowance disguised as temporary help while he found himself. Jenna, you don't understand. My mother attempts. We never meant. You meant exactly this. I advance to the final slide. The trust fund document enlarged to show every detail. You meant to use me while protecting Tyler. You meant to drain my citing this. Uncle Michael stands, his tall frame imposing as he turns to my father. I trusted you with Dad's inheritance. This isn't what he would have wanted. My father doesn't respond. He snatches his coat from the rack and storms out, the front door slamming behind him hard enough to rattle the windows. The silence that follows feels like the aftermath of a storm. Then Aunt Rebecca sits beside me on the arm of my chair, her hand coming to rest on my shoulder in silent support. One by one, extended family members approach with variations of the same message. We had no idea. We're so sorry. We believed them. My mother's face crumples, not in performance but in genuine distress, as her carefully constructed narrative collapses around her. For the first time, I see real tears, not the tactical ones she's deployed throughout my life. Tyler steps forward, hands shoved deep in his pockets. I didn't know how much you were paying, I swear, Jenna. I knew about the trust, but Dad said it was from Grandpa, specifically for me, and that he struggles, that you had your own. Don't. I hold up my hand. Not now. Aunt Rebecca squeezes my shoulder. What do you want from them, Jenna? Restitution? I look around at the family members who've been misled about me for years, at my mother who can't meet my eyes, at Tyler who looks like he might be sick. I stand, gathering my materials with deliberate calm. I'm not asking for the money back. The words come out stronger than I feel. I'm setting myself free. For the first time, in 6 years maybe, in my entire life, I stand taller than the weight of Sullivan family expectations. When financial manipulation is exposed, families often fragment along unexpected lines. The fallout from my revelation continues in ways nobody predicted, least of all my brother Tyler, whose next move will completely transform the family dynamic. I've spent the week in a strange, peaceful limbo. My apartment feels different, somehow not physically changed, but as if the air itself has lightened. For the first time in years, I wake without immediately checking my phone for desperate financial texts from my family. No urgent calls about overdue bills. No voicemails from my father. No carefully worded requests from my mother. Freedom, I realize, isn't just financial. It's the weight that's been lifted from my chest. I sip my morning coffee by the window, watching the city below come alive. The notification appears on my phone with a soft chime. Account authorization terminated, Sullivan Lake House Management. They've removed my access to the family accounts. I should feel insulted. Instead, a smile tugs at my lips. Let them figure out their own financial mess. The emails from extended family have been pouring in since Sunday's confrontation. Uncle Michael sent a lengthy apology for believing my father's narrative all these years. Cousin Sarah shared her own story of manipulation smaller scale, but the same tactics. Even my grandmother called, her voice wavering with something between shame and pride. And then, the text I never expected. Can we talk? Alone? Tyler? I stare at my brother's message for a full 5 minutes before responding with an address and time. Not my home. I'm not ready to let him into my sanctuary, but a neutral coffee shop downtown. I arrived 20 minutes early to secure the corner table with its back to the wall and clear view of the entrance. Old habits. I order a black coffee and wait, watching the door with a steadiness I don't feel. When Tyler walks in, I almost don't recognize him. My perfectly polished younger brother looks disheveled. His usually styled hair sticks up at odd angles. His designer shirt is wrinkled. Dark circles shadow his eyes, making him look older than 30. He spots me and freezes for a moment before approaching with uncharacteristic hesitation. He doesn't order anything. "Jenna," he says, sliding into the seat across from me. "Tyler." The silence stretches between us like a tightrope. Neither of us seems willing to take the first step. "You look like hell," I finally observe, wrapping my hands around my coffee mug. He attempts a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. "Haven't been sleeping much." Another silence. His fingers drum nervously on the table, a habit from childhood that appears when he's truly stressed. "I don't know how to start this," he admits. "Try the beginning." He swallows hard, then reaches into his messenger bag and pulls out a folder. His hands shake slightly as he slides it across the table. Cautiously, I open it, half expecting another betrayal. Instead, I find bank statements. Recent ones. Large withdrawals and a payment confirmation to the county tax assessor's office. "You paid the lake house taxes," I say, looking up at him. He nods, his eyes finally meeting mine. "It was never right that you were paying them." "I never knew how much you were contributing while I took from the trust fund," Tyler says, his voice barely above a whisper. "Dad always made it sound like you were just helping out occasionally." I say nothing, letting him continue. "I felt entitled to everything. The trust fund, the support, all of it." He runs his hand through his already messy hair. "I judged you for being so independent while I was taking everything I could get." I take a sip of coffee, trying to process this unexpected vulnerability from my brother. "I've been meeting with the financial advisor," he continues, going through all the accounts, seeing the full picture for the first time. He winces. "I was given everything you had to fight for." The words hang between us, honest in a way we've never been. "I'm sorry, Jenna." His voice cracks. "I'm truly sorry." It's the first genuine apology I've received from anyone in my family. Something tight in my chest loosens slightly. "I want to transfer 30% ownership of the lake house to you," Tyler says, pulling more papers from the folder. Legal documents already prepared. I blink in surprise. "What?" "You've paid for it for years. You should own part of it." I stare at the paper's official transfer documents with spaces for signatures. "Did Dad approve this?" I ask, already knowing the answer. Tyler laughs, a short, bitter sound. "Number. It's my name on the deed, too. The trust fund bought half of it when I turned 25. I don't need his permission." I scan the documents slowly, looking for a catch, a trap, some hidden manipulation. "You don't have to decide right now," he says, watching my hesitation. "Take the papers, review them with your lawyer." My skepticism must show on my face. "I know you don't trust me," he adds quietly. "You shouldn't. I haven't earned it." I close the folder, neither accepting nor rejecting his offer. "Why now, Tyler?" He looks down at his hands. "Because I never had to work for anything in my life until this week. And I've never seen Dad as clearly as I did when he started calling me a traitor for paying the taxes myself. For the first time in our adult lives, I glimpse what a real relationship with my brother might look like. Dad's fury arrives via 11 missed calls and a voicemail, so rage-filled I delete it halfway through. Mom's approach is softer, tentative text suggesting family healing and moving forward together. I leave both unanswered. Word spreads quickly through the extended family. Aunt Rebecca calls to tell me she's proud of Tyler for finally growing up. Uncle Michael emails to say we should all go to the lake house together this summer, since you're both owners now. When my brother texts me a screenshot of Dad's latest threat to cut him off financially, I respond with a simple, "You'll survive." I did. His reply comes a minute later. "I know. Maybe you can teach me how." Something fundamental has shifted. The balance of power in the Sullivan family has permanently altered. And for the first time, I'm not facing them alone. The gift basket arrives at exactly 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. Premium chocolates, imported cheeses, a bottle of Pinot Noir my father's transparent attempt at luxury bribery. The cream-colored card tucked between cellophane and ribbon displays his precise handwriting. Family reconciliation dinner. Vincenzo's, Saturday at 7 p.m. Complete honesty going forward. I trace my finger over complete honesty, the irony burning like acid reflux. Vincenzo's, where we celebrated every Sullivan milestone until I became the family ATM. The restaurant where my parents announced Tyler's college acceptance while ignoring my promotion. The place where my father once proclaimed, "Family is everything," while secretly establishing a trust fund that excluded me. My phone buzzes with Tyler's text. "Got the basket too. We need to talk first." 3 hours later, we sit in my apartment, sunlight streaming through windows onto the list I've drafted. Tyler studies it, his expression uncharacteristically serious. Mandatory family therapy? He taps that line with his index finger. Dad will explode. That's non-negotiable. I adjust my posture, spine straight against the chair back. If they want any relationship with me, they need to understand why what they did was wrong. Tyler nods slowly. The vacation home transfer helped, but it's not enough, is it? It's a start. I take a sip of water, my throat suddenly dry. But money isn't the real issue anymore. My therapist's words echo in my mind. This dinner isn't about forgiveness, it's about establishing who controls the narrative going forward. Tyler leans forward. What if they refuse your terms? Then we leave. The simplicity of my response surprises even me. 6 months ago, I couldn't imagine setting ultimatums with my parents. Now I can't imagine not doing so. We, Tyler repeats, a hint of a smile forming. United Front? I nod. United Front. Vincenzo's private dining room smells like garlic and old memories. Crystal chandeliers cast honeyed light across white tablecloths. My father adjusts his tie repeated yet nervous tell I've never seen before. My mother's eyes widen when I walk in, genuine relief washing over her face. She half rises from her chair, then hesitates, uncertain of her welcome. Tyler enters behind me, his hand briefly touching my shoulder, our agreed signal that he remembers our strategy. You came. My father's smile stops at his mouth, never reaching his eyes. We were beginning to worry. Traffic? I lie. Though the real reason was sitting in my car for 10 extra minutes, rehearsing my boundaries while gripping the steering wheel. A server pours water into crystal glasses. The quiet clink of ice cubes punctuates the silence stretching between us. My father clears his throat. Jenna, Tyler, your mother, and I have given the past few months considerable thought. Here it comes, I think. Watching him slide into the performance I've witnessed countless times, the reasonable patriarch resolving family squabbles. Family misunderstandings happen, he continues, his voice measured and practiced. Perhaps we haven't communicated as clearly as we should have about financial matters. My mother reaches across the table, not quite touching my hand. We just want to move forward together, as a family. I watch her eyes fill with tears, the same tears that once convinced me to write checks for emergencies that funded Tyler's lifestyle. The performance that silenced my questions for 6 years. Tyler shifts beside me. I sense his discomfort, the script deviating from what he expected. My father continues, the trust was always meant to benefit both of you eventually. It was simply structured. I'm not here to pretend it didn't happen. My voice cuts through his explanation like shears through ribbon. I'm here to establish how things will be from now on. The silence that follows feels like the moment before lightning strikes. I remove a folded document from my purse and place it on the table between us. These are my terms for moving forward. My father stares at the paper as if it might bite him. Your terms? Yes. I unfold it and slide it toward them. 4 conditions. My mother picks it up with trembling fingers. My father leans in to read over her shoulder, his complexion darkening with each line. Complete financial separation, he sputters. What exactly does that mean? It means I won't contribute to family expenses unless we've discussed and agreed upon them in advance, with clear terms for repayment. I maintain eye contact despite the urge to look away. It means no more last-minute emergencies that become my financial responsibility. My mother's lips press into a thin line. Family helps family, Jenna. Yes, I agree, but help goes both ways. Which brings me to condition 2 mandatory family therapy before any discussion of trust restoration. My father's hand flattens against the table. We don't need some stranger telling us. 3. I continue as if he hadn't spoken. Equal treatment between siblings going forward. Any financial assistance, gifts, or support offered to one must be offered to both. Tyler straightens beside me, his presence a silent affirmation. And finally, public acknowledgement of the past favoritism to the extended family. No more pretending I've been an equal beneficiary of family support. My father's face hardens into granite. This is ridiculous. You can't dictate. I'm not dictating how you treat family. I clarify, my voice steadier than my heartbeat. I'm dictating the conditions under which I remain part of this one. My mother's hand covers her mouth. My father's knuckles whiten around his water glass. In the silence that follows, I realize something fundamental has shifted. For decades, they've held all the power in our family. Now, watching them process the reality that these aren't suggestions but requirements, I understand they're experiencing something entirely new in our relationship. The awareness that they might lose me forever. And for the first time in my adult life, I'm not afraid of that possibility. 6 months. That's how long it's been since I tore up that property tax check and walked away from my family's web of lies. The summer sun warms my shoulders as I step onto the deck of the vacation home, at least partially. The deed in my name for the 30% ownership Tyler transferred to me sits framed in my apartment office. I run my fingers along the weathered railing, feeling the grain of wood I've paid for over years, but never touched until 2 months ago. Tyler emerges from inside, 2 glasses of lemonade in hand. Dad's stuck in traffic, he says, passing me a glass. Mom's already setting up inside. The Tyler before me is nearly unrecognizable from the entitled man-child who'd scroll through his phone while I drained my savings. His expensive watch is gone, replaced by a basic fitness tracker. He's even wearing a shirt that's seen better days, not from neglect, but actual use. How was your meeting with Davidson? Tyler asks, leaning against the railing. Productive. I can't help the small smile that forms. My portfolio expansion is on track. No more family safety net draining my future. The weight that's lifted from my shoulders is visible even in my posture. My investment advisor commented on it last week, how I stand taller now, how my voice carries more confidence when discussing my financial goals. The plans for my own vacation property in the mountains are nearly finalized, something I would have never considered while bankrolling everyone else's dreams. I hear tires on gravel and my shoulders tense reflexively. My father's silver Lexus car I once helped pay 4 pulls in beside my practical hybrid. I straighten my spine and take a deeper breath. Remember, Tyler murmurs, he agreed to the rules. Those rules came through 6 months of excruciating family therapy. Dr. Levinson didn't flinch when my father stormed out of our 3rd session after being confronted with his blatant favoritism. She simply waited until the following week when he grudgingly returned. My mother's tears during session 5 seemed genuine for once, especially when Dr. Levinson traced the enabling patterns back to her own childhood. The generational patterns are powerful, Dr. Levinson had explained. Your grandfather did the same with your uncle. Inside, my mother arranges a vegetable platter with careful precision. When she sees me, her hands pause. The therapy has stripped away most of her performative tears. What remains is something quieter, more genuine. Jenna. She steps forward, stops herself from an automatic hug I'm not ready for, and simply nods. Thank you for hosting us today. That's new acknowledging that we're in my space, on my terms. I didn't expect this dinner to be at the vacation home until I suggested it. Testing boundaries, Dr. Levinson called it. My father enters behind me, his footsteps heavy on the hardwood. The silence between us has weight. The deck looks good, he finally says, awkwardly gesturing outside. That new stain. It's not an apology. Those came painfully, sparingly, during therapy sessions where Dr. Levinson extracted them like teeth. But it's acknowledgement of something I care about the first in decades. We move to the dining table, not mahogany, not the scene of betrayal. This one is pine, selected by Tyler and me when we renovated the main room with my partial ownership funds. So, my father says as we settle in, clearing his throat. Meridian Capital's acquisition made the business section. Your team was mentioned. I nearly dropped my fork. In 35 years, he's never voluntarily brought up my work without dismissing it. I meet Tyler's eyes briefly, see the hint of a smile. This is new territory for all of us. Yes, I reply carefully. The merger goes through next quarter. I'm overseeing the portfolio transition. That's impressive, Jenna, my mother says, and I can almost believe she means it. The conversation shifts to future plans rather than past grievances. Tyler discusses his volunteer work. My father describes a retirement timeline without once implying I should fund it. None of it would have seemed possible a year ago. After dinner, I excuse myself to the deck as they clear dishes. From my tote bag, I withdraw the leather-bound book, my family ledger, as I've come to call it. 6 years of transactions, betrayals, and receipts meticulously documented. Tomorrow I meet with the foundation director about establishing the Sullivan Women's Financial Independence Scholarship. Next week, the support group I started for adults navigating family financial exploitation will welcome 3 new members, bringing our total to 15. My boundaries remain firmly in place despite the cautious reconciliation other lesson from therapy. I open the ledger one last time, feeling its familiar weight. The breeze ruffles pages filled with my precise handwriting, numbers that once represented my family's hold over me. Some debts can never be repaid, I whisper to myself, but they can be forgiven. I close the book decisively, feeling the soft thud of pages meeting. Not forgotten, but released from its power to control me. Tyler joins me, leaning against the railing. You good? I'm getting there, I say, and for the first time in years, it's not a lie. The sun sets over the lake, painting the water in golds and purples. I leave the ledger on the deck table and walk toward the shoreline. For once, I don't calculate what this moment costs.